Welcome to Running for Real, a global community with a shared love and curiosity for running. Together we reconnect with the reasons why we love to run and discover ways it helps us become better people. Whether it's the quiet moments of a morning run while the rest of the world still sleeps, or befriending the strangers next to you at the start line of a race. We are here to connect with others who see running as the common thread that weaves our lives together. Come join me, Tina Muir, as I talk with people from all walks of life, united by a love of running. Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 274 of the Running for Real podcast. Thank you for joining me today. As always, I am excited that you are here and excited for this episode. 274. We're closing in on 300 already. I feels like we just did 200, but very excited for the future of Running for Real. A lot of people have been asking me lately about what the future of Running for Real looks like in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's hard to say. I mean, I feel more passionately about the direction that we're going in, the heart of Running for Real as we've been working on within our team. But when it comes to specifics, I kind of am enjoying letting it unfold. So what are your thoughts? I would love to hear from that. We got some insight from you in the survey that you just completed, and I appreciate every single one of you that filled that out. There was a lot of you, and it was very helpful. But yeah, it's going to be fun to see where this thing goes. Now, today I am excited to bring you on a special friend of mine who actually was just featured in a previous Running Realized episode, a bonus Running Realized episode, which came out just last week. We did it because COP26, or the UN Climate Change Conference, was going on, and wanted to do something that was timely and meaningful. And oh, by the way, the UN asked us to do it. It was a collaboration with the UN. And so it was a massive deal and very exciting. And so we featured my guest today, which is Fernanda Maciel. Fernanda is an ultra runner, and she has done some incredible things in her years as a runner, not only as an environmental lawyer, but also just in her own running accomplishment. She has completed UTMB 9 times, 4 podiums of those 9 and 1 win. And she also has won all kinds of trail, mountain, ultra races. And she has been ranked in the top 5 in the world in skyrunning, or she's finished in top 5 in the skyrunning world championships. And she's also been top 3 in the world ranking for 2018, 2019. And as I just mentioned, she was practicing as an environmental lawyer. She has stepped away from that, as you will hear why. But I'm really excited for you to get to know Fernanda. She's a very inspiring person and just has a lot of energy that she has to offer this world. We are really lucky. This is a special treat to have her here. So without any further ado, we are going to thank one of our sponsors and be right to this episode with Fernanda Maciel. Thank you to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast. Athletic Greens is the health and wellness company that makes comprehensive daily nutrition really simple. With so many stresses in our lives, it can be difficult to maintain effective nutritional habits and give our body the nutrients it needs to survive. Busy schedules, poor sleep, exercise, environment, work stress, or simply not eating enough of the right foods can leave us deficient in key areas. AG1 by Athletic Greens is the category-leading superfood product which brings comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition to everyone. Keeping up with the research, knowing what to do, taking a bunch of pills and capsules is hard on the stomach and hard to keep up with. So to help each one of us be at our best, they simplify the path to better nutrition by giving you the one thing with all the best things. I have been taking Athletic Greens AG1 for about 2 years now, and honestly, I can't imagine my life without it. It is the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. I've mentioned this many times. I take it with me when I travel, and I take it when I travel, which most things when we travel, we tend to forget. And even if we take it, we don't do it. I am obsessive about getting in my Athletic Greens, and that is because one tasty scoop of Athletic Greens contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients, including a multivitamin, multi-mineral, probiotic, green superfood blend, all in one convenient daily serving. The special blend of high-quality, bioavailable ingredients in a scoop of AG1 work together to fill those nutritional gaps in your diet, support energy and focus, aid with gut health and digestion, support a healthy immune system. Effectively, you're replacing multiple products or pills with one delicious drink. So we are at Running for Real. We have a special code just for you to make it easy. Athletic Greens can give you this immune supporting product along with a free 1 year supply of vitamin D, something we all need going through the winter, and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase by going to athleticgreens.com/Tina. That's athleticgreens.com/Tina to take control of your health and give AG1 a try. Fernanda, thank you so much for joining me today on the Running for Real podcast. I'm excited we have finally managed to make this happen.
Yes, me too. So nice to be here, and thanks so much for this invitation. It's a pleasure.
No, I'm excited, and you and I worked, I guess, alongside one another in the UN's human race campaign, the Human Race, and we were fortunate enough to be able to be interviewed together on this video, and I just loved hearing what you had to say, and so I thought I have to make this into a longer form conversation than the one we were able to have, which had to be short. So I'm welcome to the show, and this is going to be fun to talk about. Actually, before we do go on, why don't we talk a little bit about that? So you and I work together on this UN hashtag the Human Race campaign, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, because for me, the fact that the UN was thinking about sports being a channel for getting the message out about climate change, that gave me a lot of hope and excitement, feeling that we can be a part of the change and a part of the message, rather than usually it's about other things. So tell us your thoughts. Do you think sport can be a powerful way to get the message across about climate change?
Oh, yes, of course. I think who has this lifestyle, no? That is who loves sport is health people, that they love to be in movement and they love to eat healthy. And I think all this style helps a lot the world and the planet. So just to eat clean, like trying to eat less meat, trying to walk more, to go to the office and back home, and just like little things like that, and trying to recycle your rubbish. It's little details that at the end make a huge difference for the planet. Mm-hmm. And I think who does sport, who loves sport, is always with this vision on that we really want to leave this planet for the new generation and to take care. So for us runners, I think it's in my case that I'm a mountain runner, so I run long distance on the trails. No, so I had this opportunity during my races and my trainings to be crossing all the continents and seeing and feeling, how is the nature around all this global. So I've been racing Amazon. I've been racing here in many glaciers. Like my next project, you'll be in the Hielo Continental in Patagonia, where I will be crossing 30 kilometers of a glacier. So I think the lifestyle, the sports, of course, bring this conscience, open our mind to see how it's important to take care, and how it's the climate is the crisis change, and how can you do it's little things at home and also outside to make a better world.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and it makes sense. I mean, even people listening who might not be running across glaciers or Alps or out in these beautiful places that we see you running in, we are, as runners, generally outside and we get to see the changes happening. And so I am glad that, we can be a part of this, and we can be part of the moving moving momentum towards this conversation. So to backtrack a little bit with your story, you're from Brazil, you live in Chamonix in the French Alps, and you travel around doing the races. You're, one of the best ultra runners out there. I'd love to start with talking about, you've competed in UTMB 9 times with 4 podium appearances and 1 win. I mean, we hear people in the US talking about how UTMB is this spectacular race. And as someone who's done it a lot, tell us about your experience of it, having been able to be there 9 times. That's pretty amazing.
Yes. So yeah, that's this year I wasn't able to race because I had a brain injury. So it was also like a really impression for myself for the first time. I was like,
so
wow.
So this was the first year you haven't been able to do it?
So like, wow, that is tough. When you are training and you are so fit and prepared for that, and you love to train and do long distance, and they don't realize so much, but they really needed to train a lot and be super strong to go up and down these mountains here. It's the Alps. It's during the night. It's super cold. It's long ascent, long descent. It's super competitive race. Well, I'm from Brazil. I'm not from France, so I think because I'm Brazilian, I need to train 3 times more than the European people. But it's not impossible. It's an amazing race. I think everybody can do that. So it's hard you need to make some points. You need to prove that you are able to do this race. It's a long process to come to the Mont Blanc to race. And once you are here, it's really tough because you need to cross the Alps, the Massif of Mont Blanc, crossing 3 countries. Italy, France, and Switzerland. So it's a complete and magic race. So yes, I've done 9 times, and so I couldn't complete. Sometimes I had bad result and a very good result. So as it is, and always my objective was just to finish because I know that it's a tough race.
Yeah, absolutely. And so tell us about what it felt like to win it, knowing that it is such a competitive race.
Well, I won the TDS, is the most technical race here. It's incredible because you have so much good runners present here, and and as I thought, like it's so long distance because sometimes you do 100K and takes just 9 hours or 10, but here the 170 kilometers take like 24 hours or maybe more. So for me it's big difference, no? If you run 9 hours to run 24 or 26 hours. So then you really needed to be well prepared, and not just for the legs and for the mind, but also for the stomach. And it's so much details, but it's wonderful to. I think more than the win is for me just to finish. It's you suffer. You learn so much, when you suffer, and during this race you learn a lot. So the victory is cool, but I think I learned so much when I couldn't finish. So it's
as it is often the case. So with that, you've talked about, you mentioned earlier you had a brain injury, and I want to go back in a minute and talk about your start into running. But as you mentioned about the tough times, you had a brain injury. How long was it? 10 months ago?
Yeah, 8 months ago. So I still recovering. Now I'm like 80% recovery. Yeah, my brain is still, I have a dysfunction in my left eye, so it's still hard for me to read, but I can run. It's funny, but it's like that. And that was come from a training rock climbing where my boyfriend, he fell. Yes, and then I had this a big trauma, like that was a very several brain injury. But now after 8 months, I'm coming back for training, and I hope in 2 months I will be ready for big projects, and next year I'll be ready for the tough race.
So you said that the tough times at UTMB have taught you more than when it went well. What has this brain injury taught you? I mean, that's incredibly frustrating to have something that takes so long to feel like yourself, have to be so careful with, your brain is so precious. You can't possibly ignore the advice. So tell us about what you've learned during that experience.
Yeah, with the brain injury, I learned that I'm a really more calm person right now. I'm more quiet person. Before, I think I was just going, and then the brain injury just reset me at all. I stopped. I wasn't able to walk or talk. So when you are not able to move, you learn a lot. And then you really stop and just to realize how the values of life and the values to be moving, just to walk. And, I was praying every day just to be a normal person. And I still like that. And I still praying that I really want to read as a normal person. Now I'm able to drive a car, for example. So before I couldn't. So it's like these little steps, you are always grateful. And during the race, especially the long distance, is always like that. I think we try to be in the present moment, just being grateful for each step you are doing, because you know that the long distance is so tough. 24 hours non-stop giving the maximum effort is so tough. And I think you really need not just your mind and your body to be connected, but also your spiritual part. So if the brain injury, I think I couldn't meditate because I couldn't focus. So I was so bad, I couldn't focus. I couldn't do like 10 minutes guided meditation. So what I was doing was just praying and trying to develop my spiritual side the maximum that I could. So I think now I'm super strong, much more than before in my spiritual side. I'm super grateful right now. I'm super blessed by God and blessed by the universe. And so I'm really connected right now much more to the universe than I was before.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I love that there's always silver linings and things that come out of injuries and things that go wrong. We always learn from those, even though they're tough going through. And you mentioned about the spiritual side. I'm assuming that, but what else will you take with you into races once you can get back out there and really, really going for it? What do you think you'll take of what you've learned about yourself forward?
Well, I think it's just to feel this, to feel lucky enough, like, and to have this opportunity. I think sometimes you take that as just normal, no, that you are in the start line, but it's like we have, that is a giant opportunity that many people they cannot have, because or they don't have healthy, or they don't have financial support, or they don't have this opportunity. And that is a dream, I know, for many people. And so just to be in the start line, for me, I think I'll cry, because I think I've been like struggling so much in this process, healing process that I've been facing. So my next race, I think, it's like that. It doesn't matter the result. It's just, it's a personal victory. And being grateful for this opportunity, I think I'll be feeling like that.
Thank you to Gooder for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast. Now, I've mentioned before, you will struggle to find a day where I'm not wearing a pair of Gooder. I love them. They are fun, fashionable, affordable, and they are just great to have around. I have pairs everywhere. They last a long time. My kids love putting them on their face. They're functional, and they are only $25 and $35 for the two different styles. Now, every purchase of Goodr sunglasses is backed by a 1-year warranty. They have 30-day free returns, so you can send those back if you are not liking the style, which, by the way, they have styles to match every personality. If you want the regular black frames, black lenses, go for that. But they also have really fun ones to match your personality. And Goodr is a 100% carbon neutral company. I love that they took this pledge many years ago. They also became proud members of 1% for the planet since 2018. They very much align with Running for Real and what they are doing environmentally, which means, by the way, 1% for the planet means 1% of their annual gross sales go directly to environmental nonprofits working towards making our world a better place. So some of my favorites, I did mention the Black with Black. That's a ginger soul. I also love Gardening with a Kraken. The names, by the way, amazing. Just so fun. And there's also some aviator style ones, which I love as well. So you can go to goodr.com/Tina. That's goodr.com/Tina to get yourself 15% off your order. They also have some blue blockers there if you want to go check those out. So go to goodr.com/Tina to go get yourself 15% off. Did you struggle at all with the fact that this happened? You said about you were belaying your boyfriend during a training session. Was it difficult for you to accept the fact that it wasn't you running and falling and hitting your head on a rock, but it was, you were supporting someone else? Like, how did you process that?
Yeah, that was a long process with therapy and lots of acceptance meditation and healing meditation. It's hard especially because I didn't want to be in that place in that moment. But at the end, yes, because it was my choice. But I think when it's like that, it's harder. I've been learning a lot with the therapy. And I think everything there is a reason, and not just by coincidence. So I wasn't in action, but somehow I had to stop. So that maybe something in the future was coming worse to my side, and that was not so bad, and just stopped me to realize what I was doing and what was wrong. And so lots of lessons.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to go back to your early starts, being that you started out as a gymnast and you were competing in major competitions, coming to America by the age of 10. So do you think you were, from a very young age, competitive enough within whatever you were doing that you were always do you feel you were always going to be an athlete?
Yes, I think I started like so young, so training so hard for so many years. It was like 4 hours every day, super tough trainings. Wow. And not able to drink water, and with psychologists, nutritionists, and like many people around, and training in US and competing in Brazil, and like many places. And I was just 10 years old. So that was part of my daily life. So it's still like that. But in the same way, always in parallel, I was a very good student. And then after, I was also a lawyer. So always the sport was in parallel of my other professionals. So I think that was super healthy for me. And this base that the gymnast gave to me, I think helped me a lot to not get injury when I'm running long distance, and gave to me so much discipline, touched me so much good values, as discipline, and to be always motivated, and trying to do my best. So that was what the gymnast bring to me for the running sport.
Yeah. And then you also did some adventure racing before you moved into endurance and mountain running. Do you think doing lots of different well, I say different sports, but even trying adventure racing involves lots of different technicalities and aspects of it. Do you think doing lots of different things to work your body in unique ways rather than just the same movement over and over again early on helped you today?
Yes, I think that adventure racing, because it's endurance, is an endurance sport, and also it's on nature and with all the different styles. No, like it's you are doing rafting during the night and also running on the desert and suddenly in high mountains with snow, and so that gave to me so much good skills. And preparation after for the ultra running. So I'm super grateful for the adventure race, what I have been learning, and also because I race in so many countries and different landscapes. So also that was super good. And for sure, I think if you learn more sports, each sport teach you one different skills. And ones they are more technical, other sports they are more physical, and others they are more mental. And then when you bring that for running, it's everything is valid, and you become a stronger runner for sure.
Yeah, and I love hearing that, and I very much believe in that we all benefit from doing multiple things rather than specializing and only sticking to one thing, very early at least. So then you mentioned there you were an environmental lawyer, or you mentioned you were an environmental lawyer, and you did a lot of work on social and environmental perspective of the world of endurance running. So tell us a bit about how that came into the picture of you becoming an environmental lawyer specifically.
Well, in Brazil, I was always running on the trails. So my love for the waterfalls and the rivers and for the nature there was giant. So that was part of myself. So when I was studying laws, I really want to finish my degree after 5 years just to become an environmental lawyer. And so it was my dream to work for my state to protect the nature of my state. And then that becomes true. So when I finish, already before I finish all my university, I was already working as a trainee for the foundation for my state. And then that was super cool opportunity that I had, and that was really a dream for me. But of course, when you are environmental lawyer, it's the environmental laws, they are amazing, but in the same times, there are so much part of that behind. So it's not an easy job. It's not easy to be environmental lawyer, especially in a giant country as Brazil, with so many problems with the environment. So that was very tough for me. And at the end, I had to give up to be a lawyer. And then I started to work for an international ONG like that work also with environment. So I was working to Brazil and to Spain. So that's why also I came to live in Europe. I was working for this ONG.
When you said there that it's really tough to be an environmental lawyer in Brazil, and that there is a lot going on there, and I've listened and learned a lot about some of the environmental challenges going on in Brazil, and it is a very difficult situation. Was that hard for you as someone, as runners, we like to set goals or say that we're going to do things, and then immediately, well, not immediately, but soon we see our impacts. We see our hard work coming together and we achieve things pretty quickly. Do you think that was tough for you as you are someone in the other main area of your life, being running, where you can set out to do things and then do them? And then the environmental lawyer side of things, did it feel like you were just getting nowhere, and so it was hard to stay motivated?
Yes, especially because I think when you love nature, at least in my case, because like a sport person also. So I really missed this real contact with nature. So of course I was protecting nature and work inside the office there with so many processes in front of me and putting many fires in so many giant industries. But somehow I was missing to be on nature, It's like maybe as the personal trainer, he teach someone running in the treadmill inside the gym, and suddenly he realized, wow, I really want to be running outside. So
Yeah.
it was kind of the same. So I was like, wow, maybe I can do something for the environment, but being outside, being outdoors. And then this is the why I am right now, like I'm exploring and trying with my person just to inspire people to be a little bit more aware about what's going on. And I think it was more there, and that was healthier for myself.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about White Flow. This is something that is your passion project and something that relates to being able to do your sport professionally, but then also bringing attention in terms of environmental damage.
Yeah, I created in 2012 the White Flow. So has been like I've done like already I think 8 projects. So that's amazing. I love the White Flow projects. I try to do one project per year. And then is that usually the White Flow I have always like a very tough running objective, goal, but also some social environment goal also during this project. So the next one now will be this in Patagonia, where I'll be running 100 kilometers around the Fitzroy. It's in the Hielo Continental, is the continental ice, is the Patagonia Sur ice, and it's super tough. Usually take people 7 days, so I'd like to try to go in one day, less than 24 hours.
Wow.
And also like showing is like it's on the glacier is incredible. I tried to do that 10 years ago. I couldn't. I stopped in the second day. It was super tough because the conditions of the weather there is really, really tough. So I hope, I'm praying already to have a good conditions, good weather, and to be able to do that. So that is one project. And also I have another project in New Papua in Indonesia, also about the social problems they have there. It's kind of a civil war. And I'd like to run up and down the highest mountain of the Oceania continent. So, I think these projects, they bring to me so much cool values, and I'd like to share that with everybody. So the people they can follow, the people they can get involved, they can make donations, they can give support, and they can share what is going on in this place. So it's super cool.
Thank you to Inside Tracker for sponsoring this episode of the Running for Real podcast. I have been working with Inside Tracker for many years now. I love that it gives me a snapshot of how my body is doing without having to look at numbers on a scale or look at my weight or look at anything else physically. I can actually see what is going on the inside, because what is on the inside is what counts. Now, they are powered by science. They believe that we can transform our body's data into these plans that make it possible for us to make changes to our life. They're going to give you this ultra personalized plan that is easy to follow. They have an app now, so you can keep up to date with what changes, I guess, are going on within your body over time. It gets to show you which of your markers are optimized, which ones need work, which ones are at risk. And from there, you will get to track it over time. And as you continue to have these Inside Tracker blood work tests done, you will get to see how it is, how things are coming together, how the changes that they recommend are coming together in your diet, whether you've taken adjustments to try and get a number into the optimized section. It's kind of fun to use it as a challenge to see how many you can get optimized. So you will be able to keep track of it. There is access to a registered dietitian if you have some questions. But I love that the actions are very easy. They make it just so accessible for us to be able to follow a plan and continue to work on our biomarkers that really look after our long-term health. Now, they recognize that no two bodies are the same. We are each unique, and so should our nutrition plan. It is just a wonderful service. I've been using it for many years, as I said. You can go to insidetracker.com/Tina. That's insidetracker.com/Tina, and that will get you 25% off your order. Go to insidetracker.com/Tina to get 25% off. You, when you share things on your social media, you tend to put them in Spanish. Is it Spanish and English? Is that right? Spanish and English?
I write always in English and in Portuguese because it's my
Portuguese.
mother.
Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah. So you always put that on there. But when you talk about your project's White Flow, can you tell, like, what is, when you go to these places and do these feats, is it just to draw attention to what you're doing so that then with that you can educate people about what's going on in that place, and then from there they can maybe share that around? Is that the goal? Like, what is the reason for going to these places to do these difficult challenges to raise awareness?
Yes, usually when I go for the place, I choose one foundation from there to be helping. So I visit the foundation, I share my experience with them, I share my love of running, they share what they need helps on that place, and then I share that with my followers. And I do some interviews. For example, now I'm going to do the environmentalist interview with this guy in the Hielo Continental in Patagonia. And then from there, if he has a foundation, so I will share the link of his foundation so the people, they can get involved, they can read, they can help, they can support. And and after with the film, we show how is the glacier now, how was the glacier before. And I think it's giving this information for people, and also everybody, the followers and all the people, they can bring also some knowledge, and they can give this financial support, or they can share the informations, and that is always super positive.
Mm-hmm. And where did the name White Flow, what was that? Why did you name it that?
Because I was doing a program with some politics from Israel and Palestine. And at the end of this program, I was the instructors of Zen. And then we make this compromise that we are doing something for the world, for the peace, for the society, and for the environment. And then I said, okay, so I think I will create a project where I can add the running, because I'm a runner, and also if something for social, that there is a social meaning. And then I created the White Flow. So the first one was the Camino Santiago. So I ran 900 kilometers from France to Spain in a famous pilgrim track that they call Camino Santiago de Compostela. And then that I did to help all the children with cancer from the foundations from Spain and from Brazil. And that was super cool. It took 10 days for me to finish the project. And the people each day, they were like make donations and helping the kids. And I've been also with the kids with cancer. And that was super powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So with these trips and these projects that you do, you obviously have to travel to many of these events. And as you and I are both people who are very vocal about speaking out about climate change, how do you deal with, or what do you say to the people who say to you, well, you shouldn't be traveling? You and I both know the answer to this, but for people listening who might say or think, well, why are you traveling to all these places if you're concerned with climate change? Your flight is damaging, and what do you say back when people say that?
Yeah, I think you need to try the maximum that you do in local, no? As buying local food, and I don't have car right now, for example, so I do everything by bike or by walking, and I think it's is very particular. Of course, sometimes you need to get an airplane. So my family is from Brazil, for example, that's why I go to Brazil and. Because I'll be there, so I go to Patagonia because beside there to show that. I think it's, of course, you need to try to be the maximum that you can in your village, in your place, trying to use the local transports. Yeah, and then after you try to minimize the maximum that you can.
Do you ever feel guilt yourself for traveling, or have you come to peace with that? That's just something I personally still feel that guilt for, even though I know sometimes the work I'm doing is more.
I think it's a balance. I think it's if you travel more, of course, but in the same how it's you need to have. I really need to see my family. I don't want to stop once per year to get one flight because I cannot see my family because for the environment. I prefer to do my part in another ways. So to not have a car, for example, and to go to the supermarket and come back walking. So I think it's. I think if you do this balance, I think you are fine. And each person is each person, and you have to try to have this common sense that is good for you.
Yeah, and I very much feel the same way in that, my family is in the UK and I'm in the US. So typically I do in non-pandemic times travel to see them and they come to me. But like you, in my daily life, I go out of my way in a lot of different ways to reduce my impact as much as I possibly can. So while I may take a few more flights, I feel like I'm well aware of it, and I'm making choices that help, that are, engaging conversation and doing things that are moving things towards change. And I mean, is there anything you would like to remind people with that before we move on? About the fact that, yes, we can try and cut down on our individual footprint, but it is so much more than that when it comes to figuring this out. It's not about us each reducing our impact to absolute zero as individuals, but it's more about the bigger changes at the top level.
Yeah, I think you needed to try to do around you, It's easy for us to be judging now this big company that one, but then you at home you are not doing your work, and I think look to you, what you are really able to do, what you are not able to do, and thinking like for you, for the community, what you can bring for the community and for the planet, and you don't need to be totally extreme and just like crazy socialist, but I think you need to do the first step like that.
Mm-hmm. So you and I both speak out a lot about this, and there are a handful of other athletes. But I'm curious. At the beginning, we talked about how runners are out there in nature, seeing changes, being surrounded by nature. Why is it you don't think more athletes talk about this and kind of try to draw attention to what's going on?
Well, I think it's because you can sit in and, I was very impressive, running the Amazon, and I'm really worried that the Amazon can have big hectares, big kilometers as a savanna, because it's getting drier. And that is a worry, of course, all the world. And for me as a Brazilian, I've been there. And also here in the glacier that I run every day here in Chamonix, the Mer de Glace is the largest here in France. And 10 years ago, running here was one thing. And now it's it's less, and in 20 years you'll be 3 kilometers less. And also this, where I'm going now for Patagonia, the Hielo Continental, that usually is 30 kilometers of hielo. And right now, just like 30 minutes ago, I was discussing with the photographer. He said, "Oh, this part you need to do the rock climbing." And he said, "Well, that when I did 5 years ago was ice, but right now it's not ice anymore because it's so warm that probably you'll be rock climbing." So it's just like these details that you then realize, like, oh my gosh, it's really changing, and it's changing fast, and what you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where it can be uncomfortable to hear us talking about this because, that feeling of we're stuck, this isn't down to us, what do we do? Overwhelm is very much there. But I think the fact that you're bringing this up and reminding people of the changes, and people are seeing it themselves, is the only thing we can do. Now, that said, you've traveled to all these remote places all over the world. Have you noticed anything about just the land and, the damage that we've done in terms of like seeing trash at the top of mountains or, just the visible elements of the way that we're living and how it's not good for Mother Earth that we are living on?
Yes, like I did this project in Aconcagua, so I running up and down the highest mountain in America, and then part of the project was also about the environment and the how they recycle the rubbish in the park. Then I realized they leave 30,000 kilos of rubbish in the base camp and then also up high. So how can they bring that down? It's super tough because the helicopter can fly just sometimes. And then all the porters and the mountain guides and the expedition, they needed to bring this rubbish down. And and it's like, it's the climbers, it's like the trekkers that they are going up. Sometimes they feel so tired, they don't bring it down. So it's the same in Everest. They bring the oxygen bottle to the top and then they leave the bottle there. So why? I ask, like, why you are climbing if you are just living, let's practice a bit of leave no trace. It's so sad to see that, but that is a reality.
Yeah. And I think that message can be taken to runners everywhere, right? Because we all, we all use fuel that is in a packaging, or we all might have, hopefully most people are using their reusable bottles, but people may have a plastic bottle that they get at the end of a race, or that they are using during their training. And it's so important to take it with you because while if you drop something, leaving it there and saying, oh, it's just one wrapper is easy to say. If everyone dropped one wrapper, then, we're all going to be swimming around in trash. And I think what you just shared there is a good example of we all want to do these impressive things, and it's great to explore and travel the world, but we also need to consider, the damage that we're doing just by leaving what we've used behind.
So I have a great example to give. Once, I think it was 6 years ago, I did the Ultra Trail in Barcelona. And I remember like getting inside before the start line. They needed to write, you had to write our bib number in our gels and bars. So that was so cool because so if they found out like the package of the gels or the bars of your food on the trail, then you get you are completely out of the race. So that was like giving me so much attention. Like that is awesome. So bring this, bring the reality. Please don't leave anything, like when you are racing. And I remember that was super good. So usually right now, all the races, we need to bring our flasks or our hydration bag. So that is good because then you don't work more with water bottles or water cups. So that's amazing. But as this organization, they did, like where you need to also write in our food, our BB number, that is also cool because that makes sure that you also have more attention when you are drinking or eating, so you don't leave anything.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So I host another podcast called Running Realized. And for the listeners, I would encourage you to go listen to the episode we did. I'll put a link in the show notes, called The Sustainable Road Race. And we explored what that would look like in the future, because while we might think that our sport doesn't have much, like has a very little footprint compared to other things, we actually do have a lot more waste and damage through setting up events and everything that goes with it than we realize. So do you have hope that we can, as runners, get to a point where we are driving change within our sport in terms of that, in terms of our racing situation?
Yes, I think if it's like just as you do, just expressing our love for nature, and also this passion. I think maybe the future runners and the younger people, they can feel that also. That is not a physical sport; it's more than that, and then they start to do the good work.
Yes. Okay, Fernanda, anything else you would like to tell the listeners before we, let you go off onto your next adventure?
Yeah, so thanks so much for being here. It's a pleasure. You are awesome, Tina. I hope after I can interview you also. And I wish you good luck for everybody. Just be grateful for where you are right now. And and I think being the simple life is the most beautiful one. And I wish the best for everybody. And just enjoy the mountains and the trails, because this is a beautiful gift that you have.
Absolutely. And I'll put lots of links in the show notes for people to go find you. Fernanda, thank you so much for all that you have done. I appreciate you. And we look forward to following along as you return to running and racing.
Thanks so much, Tina. Have a good day.
Hi, friends. Just a quick message to say a big thank you to the Running for Real team. While I may be the face of Running for Real and the voice behind the podcast, there are a group of people who are working tirelessly to provide everything that runners could need within our community to make our community stronger, better, and evolve and grow and learn from one another. We are working really hard to make Running for Real the place we believe it can be within our community. I just want to take a moment to thank everyone on our team. That is Victoria, Stacy, Sandy, Sally, Maria, Kelsey, Kat, Jeremy, and Erica. I appreciate each and every one of you and the hard work that you put in. Now let's get back to the show. So appreciative of Fernanda and all that she is doing, and I hope we can all keep up to date with her White Flow adventures that she will be on in the future. I will put a link in the show notes to the White Flow information so you can follow along. She has another one coming early in next year. As you would have heard in the Running Realized episode, if you have not listened to that one, it is really powerful. You get to hear a different version of her story. And the Marinelle Gubaldo is the second guest in that Running Realized episode. Very, very powerful. And again, that is a collaboration with the UN. So it is an honor, really. Just want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this episode. Athletic Greens, you can get a 1-year free supply of vitamin D, something we all need this time of year now the sun is not out giving us natural vitamin D as much as we get in the summer. You can go to athleticgreens.com/Tina to go get yourself signed up for AG1. I also want to thank Gooder for sponsoring this episode. You can get 15% off your order by going to goodr.com/Tina. you will be struggling to find a day that I do not have a pair of Gooders on my head. I love them. So you can go to gooder.com/Tina to get yourself 15% off, and to Inside Tracker. Inside Tracker are keeping me healthy and strong, keeping me looking at how my body is doing from the inside. And you can go to insidetracker.com/Tina to go get yourself 25% off there. That's a really massive deal. So very exciting there. On Monday, we have another together run that is going to be reflecting on a New York experience, a lot of fun there. And next Friday, we have another regularly scheduled episode, a very special one, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that one. So thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next week.